Little man running along. Do you even see me? I'm right here. I'm real. I'm alive. But you took everything I had from me. You can't hurt me now because I have nothing left that you can take. Zacchaeus, don't try to shove past me because I won't let you pass. Run away, little man. Go and climb that tree. When Jesus sees you, he will condemn you just as surely as you have condemned me. When you are hurt by someone else, it can make you feel bitter inside. When you or I hurt someone else, you can feel the gap between you and them widen. How do you heal a relationship when you were the one who broke it? How do you heal a relationship when the other person seems to be working to destroy it and they hurt you in the process? Is that relationship even worth saving? My name's David Woodall. I'm with the Emsdale Pastoral Charge of the United Church of Canada. Peter asked Jesus about this one day. He asked, Lord, if my brother keeps on sinning against me, how many times do I have to forgive him? 7 times? No, not 7 times, answered Jesus, but 70 times 7. Have you ever hammered nails into a board? When you pull the nails out, they come out, but they leave behind a hole. Once the nails have gone in, the wood has been changed forever. It could never be like it was before. 70 times 7 is a lot of nails. It's a lot of holes left behind in you if you were the one receiving the nails. Forgiveness. Sometimes I'm sorry seems to be the hardest words to say. They're also the hardest words to believe when someone says them to you. But I can't think of any relationship that I have with my wife, my children, with you, with other friends that I have, that don't include a healthy dose of forgiveness. Whether it is my forgiving them, or more likely, they're forgiving me. All the relationships that I have, that I really value, are the ones that have forgiveness woven through them. The give and take of forgiveness is a basic part of my walk with God. I can't count the number of times that I have been less than the person God created me to be. The number of times that the hand of God has picked me up and dusted me off and sent me on my way. A few years back, the idea was presented that love means never needing to say you're sorry. Well, that's cute, and it's a catchy, and it makes a nice bumper sticker, but it's a disastrous approach to life. It's a disastrous approach to relationships, even our relationship with God. Honest relationships have moved beyond the everything I do is fine mentality. None of us is perfect. So forgiveness, both giving and receiving it, is basic to who we are on both a spiritual level and on an emotional level. Love means saying, I'm sorry. It means caring enough that we know when we've done something that has hurt someone else. It is saying, I love you, and what I have done has hurt the bond between us, and I don't want that hurt to continue. I want our love to be strengthened. I want our relationship to go on. It's often at these times of apology and forgiveness that the real value of important things in life come through. It's at those moments of forgiveness, given and receiving, when love is really strengthened. My love for you is far greater than the effects of this time and the hurt that I caused you and the hurt you caused me. Forgiving and being forgiven also has about it a sense of renewal, of the opportunity to start again. Once there was a king who decided to check on his servants' account. He'd just begun to do so when one of them was brought in who owed him millions of dollars. The servant didn't have enough to pay his debt, so the king ordered him to be sold as a slave with his wife and his children and all that he had in order to pay the debt. The servant fell on his knees before the king. Be patient with me, he begged, and I will pay you everything. The king felt sorry for him, so he forgave him the debt and let him go. This is in the Gospels, by the way. You see, there's a sense of renewal that accompanies forgiveness. You have a chance to reclaim your life. You have a chance to reclaim your relationships. You have a chance to reclaim yourself. You have a chance to become spiritually whole. You have a chance to become emotionally whole. It's not like the two children who were puzzling over the meaning of forgiveness after Sunday school one day. There was an older boy that kept picking on them. And after hearing of Jesus' teaching, they didn't know what to do. 70 times 7? Well, they finally decided the best thing to do would be to keep track. And after 490 times, watch out. Forgiveness isn't like that. It's somehow having the capacity within you to be bigger than the moment. That reminds me of another story that I heard. Minister of an inner-city church heard a knock on his office door one Thanksgiving evening. "Reverend," a man said as the minister opened the door, "I've got to confess a sin to you. You see, my family was hungry, so I stole a ham. But now I feel so guilty. Would you please take this ham?" With that, the young man went back out the office door and brought in the ham that was still warm. "I can't take that ham," said the minister. "Then what should I do with it?" "I would suggest you take it back to the person you stole it from." "I did that, and he wouldn't take it back." "In that case, you have no reason to feel guilty. Go and enjoy your ham and happy Thanksgiving." Shortly after, the minister returned home, only to find his wife slightly irate. "What's the matter?" "We're not going to have much of a Thanksgiving. Someone came and stole the ham right out of our oven." Forgiveness. You can handle life when you know how to forgive and how to receive forgiveness. In our scriptures for today, 2 men received forgiveness. The servant, forgiven by the king, didn't know how to handle it. He had an opportunity to renew his life, to become emotionally whole, to become spiritually whole, to have a brand new start, and he blew it because the first person he met was someone he couldn't forgive. And it makes me think about, what am I going to do, and what are you going to do about forgiveness? I have watched the inability to forgive in some people eat them up, destroy them. They become bitter and angry people. Relationships are torn apart with each other and with God. And if we're honest, it happens to me and it happens to you. I don't know. Maybe we can walk together. If there's someone you need to forgive, then do it now. Because if you don't, it'll really kill you. And if someone asks your forgiveness, then be gracious enough to give it, and give them a chance to start all over again and become a whole person again. The hand of God can pick us up, dust us off, and set us on our way with a sense of renewed life. And maybe, just perhaps, we can walk together, much wiser now because we're not perfect. We're just forgiven. Jesus came walking along and saw Zacchaeus watching him from the branches of a tree. He stopped on his walk and looked up at him. And everyone who was there, the crowds who were watching and the ones who were walking, turned to stare as well. Maybe there was a moment of silence that settled over them all. On some of their faces danced the image of death. The flames of revenge flickered in their eyes. The fires of eternal damnation reserved for this disgusting little man in their midst who had stolen from them and brought misery into their lives. Little grins of anticipation were here and there as they waited for Jesus to cut this big man, Zacchaeus, down to size. Jesus stood and looked up at Zacchaeus. Did he see a man who needed forgiveness? Who needed to forgive himself? Who needed the forgiveness of the whole community in which he lived? Or did he see a community in which anger and the inability to forgive was a poison that was sucking the life out of them? You know, and it can happen to a whole community. Think of the nasty, bigoted comments that infect political campaigns on social media. Think of the treatment of First Nations people in so many different aspects of their lives. Think of the Black Lives Matter. Think of the difficulty a prisoner has in finding a job after they've been released from jail. Did Jesus see a community in which anger and the inability to forgive was a poison that was sucking the life out of them? Or did he see a man who needed the forgiveness of his friends and who needed to forgive himself? Jesus looked up in that tree and spoke. It sounded like he was speaking to Zacchaeus, and the words were for him, but they were also for all the other people who were there that day. And maybe they were also for us. Maybe they were the voice of God. Zacchaeus, hurry down, because I must stay in your house today. God bless you. Take care. Stay safe. Amen.